Oh, good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to call our regular board meeting of July 26th to order. And we will begin, as we always do, with a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, a moment of silence. Thank you. Ms. Sawyer, may we have a roll call, please?
Sharon Warden,
Present.
Pam Perezza,
Here.
Rodney Walton,
Here.
Daniel Spence,
Here.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Present.
George Archuleta,
Here.
and Virginia Houston is not present this evening.
Okay. Because Ms. Houston is not with us, I have the pleasure of reading the ethics statement. Welcome to the July 26, 2021 regular meeting of the Elizabeth City Pasquotank Board of Education. It is my duty to remind members of the board that it is our responsibility to avoid all conflicts of interest and potential conflicts of interest in accordance with Chapter 138A of North Carolina General Statutes. As public servants, it is our duty to continually monitor, evaluate, and manage our personal, financial, and professional affairs in such a way as to ensure the absence of conflicts or potential conflicts. Does any member know of any conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest with respect to any matter coming before the board today? Let the record reflect that no conflicts exist. Okay, I need a motion from the floor to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
And a second,
Second.
and a roll call vote.
Pam Perezza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
Daniel Spence,
Yes.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
George Archuleta,
Yes.
and Virginia Houston is not present this evening. Motion carries.
Thank you. Tonight, it is my pleasure to welcome, and I am going to apologize in case I do pronounce your last name incorrectly, and you can certainly correct me if I do. Karina Ruffier, Director of Visit Elizabeth City. Ms. Ruffier requested time during our meeting this evening to provide a presentation on a new project they have recently launched, the African American Experience of Northeast North Carolina. Ms. Ruffier will join us virtually this evening. Welcome.
Thank you. You did pretty good with that too.
Okay, well, thank you.
But I still go with Karina because it's a little easier.
All right, well, Karina, welcome. And I like Karina too.
Thank you.
Great.
Tammy, I'm going to ask you, are you going to share? Perfect. Thank you. And you'll move forward for me? Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me and see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. So I am the executive director of Visit Elizabeth City. We are the tourism development authority for Pasquotank County and Elizabeth City. So I'm here to share with you tonight about a new project that we launched called the African American Experience of Northeast North Carolina. You can go to the next page. It is essentially a digital African American heritage and history trail currently. Go ahead. And our mission, let's see, that doesn't want to go away, is to, there's something on the screen, Tammy. I don't know if that's on yours or is it on mine? I got it to go away. To inspire exploration and appreciation for the African American experience of Northeast North Carolina, and ultimately to drive cultural tourism and economic impact. In our vision, the African American experience of Northeast North Carolina celebrates the contributions of African Americans and encourages a deeper understanding of the significance of the region's cultural heritage in order to build more inclusive communities. So this is a regional collaborative effort, and you guys know this as well. You're a pretty big board covering lots of schools. Working with groups of people outside your organization is always challenging and takes longer than you think it's going to. But we're super proud that the 6 tourism bureaus of Northeast North Carolina have all come together. We've been working on this project actually since last August. COVID ironically made this happen because we all started meeting virtually as we are tonight. We've all put money into the pot and we all continue to work on this project to push it forward. Next slide, please. And I'm sure you're very familiar, but these are the 6 counties that are involved: Camden, Chowan, Currituck, Dare, Pasquotank, and Perquimans. And this is to get us started. Next slide. What is really amazing to me, so those of you that I have met know that I moved here about 2.5 years ago. So I am certainly not an expert on the region's history by any stretch. But doing this project has been amazing because I just had no idea to the extent of the wealth of the Black history that we have in our region. And working together to pool all of that information into one website that's simple and easy to access was an incredible project. So I'm not going to read through all of these sites, but you'll get Currituck has the historic Jarvisburg Colored School. Go ahead, Tammy. Perquimans County, the Colored Union Soldiers Monument. Dare County, the Pea Island Cookhouse. I will pause here for a second. Another project that the Tourism Bureau is working on, you may have heard about, is the Coast Guard Marathon. I had no idea that there was an all-Black Coast Guard life-saving station in Dare, which is really cool and just is another reason to show how we all do need to communicate and work together and integrate a lot of the projects that we do. Next slide. And I'll pause here for a second too. The next 3 slides are Chowan, Camden, and Pasquotank. And again, this history was very new to me, but I also don't think that it's very well known throughout the region, and it's certainly not easy to find, but we are all part of the National Underground Railroad Network to Freedom. And that is a national park, essentially, that compiles all of these sites that had something to do with the Underground Railroad. And if you go to the next slide, specifically here in Pasquotank, the Pasquotank River, which I just think this is the most amazing fact. It was the very first river in the entire United States to receive National Underground Railroad designation. Pretty impressive for our small community. So we pull all these sites together and create this digital trail so that people can easily find this content, because right now you really can't find it anywhere. And then hopefully we'll get out and experience everything that there is to see. Next slide. And for a little bit of background, I mentioned briefly, we started this project last August by the tourism directors getting together and chatting and saying, what can we do to work together to help us essentially survive COVID, although that has thankfully not been too much of a problem. And this project is one that's been talked about off and on over the years. So we pulled together advisory committees. The advisory committees are made up of 2 to 3 representatives from each of the 6 counties, and those representatives represent either the Black culture or have significant historical knowledge of the region. As I mentioned, I am not a history expert, so thankfully we've had quite a few history professors from ECSU volunteer their time to help us with our information. Next slide. So we launched the campaign very recently on June 19th of 2021. I encourage you, when you have a minute, to go to the website and check it out. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram, whatever your pleasure is, and help share this really incredible new resource for our region. Next slide. Going forward, it's important for us, at least from a tourism perspective, to note this is a living, breathing project. We are not done by any stretch. That's part of the reason why I'm sharing this information with you today, is we want to continue to grow the program. We have, as I mentioned earlier, incredible history here, but a lot of it isn't anything that a tourist can go experience. So keep in mind, we are tourism bureaus, so our number one thing that we want people to do is go visit these sites and drive economic impact, which essentially helps all of us. So we are going to hopefully get more funding, perhaps create a 501c3, allow us to apply for grants. We could build signs, there could be a trail of public art. There's just so much more that we could do with resources and time. Next slide. And so why am I talking to you? We thought it was important for our local school boards to be aware of this program, just in case any of your teachers may want to access it or have ideas to help us make it better. I already mentioned to go to the site, follow us on social media, get out there and visit the sites if you haven't seen them yet. This one's really important. If you or any of your teachers or anybody on the school board has ideas to help us improve this project, please let us know. If it would be appropriate, we're also asking for letters of support or a resolution of support, however your board works, so that when we do go to apply for grant funding, we'll have a pool of already signed letters indicating that our local community really supports this project. And so I'm gonna pause there and see if there's any questions on this project before I shift gears into the second half of my presentation.
Any members have any questions? Karina, apparently we don't have any, so you can move on.
Terrific, thank you. Going ahead, team. So as I mentioned, there's still an echo there. Thank you. I represent the Elizabeth City, Pasquotank County Tourism Development Authority. And I wanted to talk to you briefly about our upcoming fiscal year plan of work, which is not normally something I don't think tourism has presented to the school board before, but I'll share with you why in just a moment. So next slide. And the next one is us patting ourselves on the back a little bit. We recently earned our accreditation, which is actually pretty rare in the destination marketing world. There's only 200 organizations worldwide who have earned that. So I'd like to share that little bit of good news. You can go ahead. So I'm sure you are all more than aware that our community changed significantly on April 21st when Andrew Brown Jr. was killed. When that happened, we were very close to launching our proposed budget for the upcoming year and marketing plans and public relations plans, all on the effort to tell the story of Elizabeth City and Pasquotank County and encourage people to want to travel here and visit us. Well, I can tell you it's very difficult to run a travel and tourism campaign when there are protests every day. There's a lot of negative media about Elizabeth City almost every day. And so we paused all of our efforts knowing that it wouldn't be appropriate to move forward. And I spent almost a month reaching out to my peers in destinations that have sadly experienced similar things as us in Minneapolis, Louisville, and Charlottesville. I talked to diversity experts and I talked to the experts at Visit North Carolina, which is our state tourism office. And with their help and my board's approval, we have completely reshaped our plan of work for the upcoming fiscal year. And some of these programs we're asking for your help on, or we will reach out to you again. Tammy, you can go to the next slide, please. Go ahead. So the first thing is we've contracted with a public relations firm. You may have seen the really amazing news last fall when Travel and Leisure wrote about Elizabeth City with our Calling All Elizabeths campaign, and BuzzFeed said we were one of the top 10 coolest small towns to visit. That type of work is through a partnership with firms like MMGY. However, as I mentioned, we can't really pitch our normal travel and tourism things right now. So what we're doing with them instead is we're looking for positive community stories. We really want to get information out in the news media to help combat the negative media narrative that currently exists with a positive one about the good things that are happening in our community. So if you have suggestions for a student to highlight because they've done amazing things to give back to our community, or a teacher, please let us know and we can share that with the firm and see if any journalists are interested. We also, as part of this contract, are working with a group called the Black Travel Alliance to ensure that when we do start pushing messaging out, it has the right tone and the right feel and will help our situation. That's the most important thing that we are going for, that everything we are doing will move us forward and be positive. Next click, please. We are also seeking a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. Again, this is not a very traditional tourism activity by any stretch, but as I already mentioned, we can't do our normal plan of work at the moment, so we are shifting our funding. We feel like this consultant is super important. We'd like to work with them to do a community-wide assessment. That's where this board comes in and you can help us. You can participate either as leaders in some of the focus groups, help us get the survey out to your parents. Because this work from this consultant will only be successful if a lot of our community members respond to it. We're also going to ask this consultant to work with us for at least a year to, again, ensure that the work that we do is on point, on tone, and helps move the community forward. And finally, we are going to be redoing our own strategic plan. We have, as you do, the school has their own strategic plan. Ours is, of course, very focused on economic development and driving increased overnight visitation, which is our primary mission. It's why we exist. But I've said this before, I'm embarrassed to admit that our current strategic plan does not include the words diversity, equity, or inclusion in it. It will going forward. So we're going to redo our plan through a lens that is much more inclusive of our entire community, which will help put us on a path for ensuring that messaging is in our work as we go forward. So with that, I'll stop. I'm sure you have a very busy agenda. Again, happy to take questions. Just wanted to share that with you because we will be reaching out as we go forward.
Any questions for Karina? We appreciate the presentation, Karina. You will be hearing back from us. One thing I have a question about is the resolution that you requested. Do you have a certain timeline on that when you need that?
Any time would be acceptable, and I have a sample or a draft one that I'd be happy to shoot over to Tammy, and you can then just edit it as appropriate so you don't have to create one from scratch, if that would be helpful.
Yes, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
I will do that. Thank you all so very much for the time, and I look forward to seeing you out and about in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good project. Turn it over to Ms. Jenny Davis for the superintendent's report at this time.
Good evening, Chair Warden, Vice Chair Pereza, board members, colleagues, and community members. ECPPS is busily preparing for the beginning of the 2021-2022 school year. We are considering the latest updates from Governor Cooper and the Strong Schools Toolkit with regard to COVID safety protocols. We also look forward to meeting with Albemarle Regional Health Services this week in hopes to gain better insight as to the local information surrounding COVID and any recommendations they may have for school district. Chair Warden shared with me that the board will meet on August the 2nd at 6 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the safe opening of the 2021-2022 school year. The district leadership team and principals look forward to conversation with the board as you make decisions for this upcoming school year with regard to COVID protocols. Information will be forthcoming to parents regarding the opening of next school year following the meeting on August the 2nd. We will provide information on open house and meet and greets as soon as possible following that meeting as well. School supply lists are posted on the website, and we excitedly look forward to welcoming our students and staff back in August. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the board, colleagues, and others for all of the support during my time as interim superintendent. I have enjoyed the opportunity to serve in this capacity, and now I look forward to returning to my role as Chief Human Resource Officer effective August the 1st. It's been a pleasure, and I say thank you, and thank you even more. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. James Davis. And as the board chair, I would just like to say we appreciate your support and your efforts for our school district and for the students of Elizabeth City, Pasquotank school system, as well as for our teachers and staff.
Thank
You've
you.
done a phenomenal job. It's been very challenging, I know. And we look forward to continuing our work with you as our Chief Human Resources Director.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the board like to make any comment?
Just thank you for stepping up, and we appreciate all that you have done. Yeah.
Ms. James, I'm a baseball guy and primarily a New York Yankees fan. So Mariano Rivera was always the closer. So the starting pitcher would start the game, as they would have to bring in middle relief to kind of manage the game until they got to the closer. You have been that middle relief to the closer. So I want to say thank you for the job that you've done.
I didn't know where you were going with that analogy, but thank you.
Yes, thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Ms. President.
I did of those and said thank you also for stepping up when it was needed.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now we need to approve the minutes for the June 28th meeting, the July 12th meeting, and the July 19th meeting. So I need a motion from the floor to approve those minutes.
I move to approve the minutes for June 28th, July 12th, and July 19th, 2021.
Motion has been made. I need a second
I'll second.
and a roll call vote to approve those minutes.
Campereza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
Daniel Spence,
Yes.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
George Archuleta,
Yes.
and Miss Virginia Houston is not present this evening. Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. As is our practice during this virtual meeting, we do have a comment for the public forum, and Ms. Sawyer will be reading that.
Public comment this evening is from Bonnie Ditto. She said, need discussion about 2 variants of COVID still out there. We want a choice for remote learning to continue. We have students that cannot take the vaccine and their safety is as important as anyone else. We have 3 high-risk students in our home. We need options for safety. There were many cases where we were notified of students testing positive for COVID in Pasquotank County schools, with only half the students actually in the buildings. Pfizer is reporting their vaccine is not working against the new variants. We can't afford this risk. Remote learning should be offered for those of us that are high risk. Thank you.
Sorry. Now we're going to move on to our agenda this evening with the Financial, Business, and Technology Committee. And we have attached a maintenance report. Some of you have been looking at those pictures that Ms. Wilkins, our maintenance director, has shared. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Wilkins? She's online with us tonight, as always. Any questions or comments for Ms. Wilkins?
Is there any update on the HVAC tech? Ms. Wilkins? It seems there's only one. Are we trying to hire a backup, or we're trying to hire another full-time person for that role?
Can you be more specific? Which HVAC?
It says currently we have only one HVAC tech that is providing service and repairing all HVAC and kitchen equipment. So I'm wondering if we're looking at hiring someone else, or are we just gonna go into the year with just one person?
Yes, sir. We're working on trying to get somebody hired.
Is there any progress? Or is there any update as far as that goes?
She's spinning.
I think we lost. Oh, you're back. There she is.
Y'all knew it.
You jumped from one screen to the other, Ms. Wilkins.
Yeah, my laptop shut down on me.
Okay.
Yes, sir. There's supposed to be some positions posted. Yes, sir. We're trying to get some help in there to help Mr. Blunt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions for Ms. Wilkins? Regarding any of the information she shared with us. And Ms. Wilkins, thank you for your report this evening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to Ms. Haynes, our Chief Finance Officer. She has the fundraisers and crowdfunding to present to us, and we do need to take action on these items.
Chair Warden, Vice Chair, President, Interim Superintendent James Davis, and board members. Finance has one item on the agenda this evening, FBT 02, the list of fundraisers and crowdfunding requests. Having reviewed the list, are there any questions concerning any of the listed activities?
When do these requests come in? Are they coming this late in the year to get started? 'Cause I see something from Antonio Moore, the football, obviously football coach in Northeastern, and their season's about to start. Is it?
They come in at various times throughout the month. They have to be reviewed, and then if there are questions or concerns, they get sent back to the school to get those questions or concerns answered, and then they go on the next available board meeting. They come before the board at the next meeting.
Okay, so it comes the month of, typically the month before our meeting. Typically,
It all depends, but we do try to, we do try to have a little bit of lead time, but we take them up until the very last minute, typically. And sometimes we do have to go back to the school, ask questions of the principal, ask questions of the person that submitted the request, especially if it's crowdfunding versus fundraising and the different approval processes for each of those.
Are there any other questions about these items from the same? And I'm going to ask that we take action on these items at this time. So may I have a motion from the floor to approve the fundraiser and the crowdfunding request made by Coach Moore?
Make a motion to approve the fundraising request and the crowd funding.
And I need a second.
Second.
Had a motion by Mr. Spence and a second by Ms. Reza to approve the agenda items for finance, business, and technology, specifically dealing with fundraisers and the crowdfunding request. Are there any questions or discussion? about any of these items? Okay, we will take a roll call vote and thank you.
Kim Preza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
Daniel Spence,
Yes.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
George Archuleta,
Yes.
and Ms. Houston is not present this evening. Thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Haynes. Okay, and now we're going to have an after-school care update by Mr. Lane, our Deputy Chief Academic.
Good evening, Chair Warden, Vice Chair Pereza, Interim Superintendent James Davis, and board members. I come before you today with an update on the after-school care program. We have 7 after-school care programs in the district, 1 site at each elementary school. Sheep Harney After School Care is the only site licensed by the Department of Social Services as a child care facility in the district. They remained licensed because of DSS vouchers. We no longer have any students receiving vouchers. Ms. Reed spoke with DSS, and the voucher program is frozen and has been so for the past few years. There is no anticipated date for continuation of this program, so no new students will be given vouchers. As a result of this, we are removing the state license for the Sheep Harney Elementary After-School Care Program. We will continue to maintain high standards that are similar to those that are required under state licensure. And we are currently advertising for staffing to safely open our after-school care programs at the beginning of the year. Applicants are extremely sparse at this point in time. We are working with Ms. Tammy Sawyer to do social media blasts in order to attract more applicants, as well as exploring other options to make employment more appealing. Opening of the program at all sites will depend upon our ability to hire adequate staffing to safely run the program. This concludes my update, and do you have any questions?
Any questions from anyone?
I do. You said the after-school program is having some challenges getting staff. What do you
Yes, sir.
contribute that to? Have you noticed? Is it
This is
paid? Is it?
partially, yes, sir. It's a self-sustaining program, so the funding that they generate has to run the program. We're running around, for a lead teacher, $8.75 and $7.40 for the assistants. When I check with other aftercare programs around the community, they're running a bit higher than we are, about $11 to $12 for a lead teacher.
All right. So this question may not be just for you. So is there anything the board can do to help supplement that program? That's what I said, it may be just for you.
I can say that as far as like from the federal side, we don't have any funding that could supplement the program. It's, I forget the term, that it's an enterprise, I think is what it is referred to as. So it means that it is self-sustaining. The funds that they generate are the only funds that they have to operate within. And I think employment in general is tough right now. I mean, across not just Elizabeth City, but all over, there are help wanted signs and businesses who are not open, like restaurants, for dining in because they don't have the wait staff to support.
Yeah, it is, but $7 an hour.
Ms. Lane, how does the removal of the license impact Sheep Harney?
It being under a state license is extremely difficult. The standards are extremely high. For example, that plug, there's a plug that should go in that to protect it. If one of those is missing and that state consultant comes in, there's a write-up and you have to develop an action plan for everything. So it's a lot of extra paperwork when you can maintain the same standards without being under that license.
Any other questions? Comments? Anyone? I wanted to ask, typically, what are the numbers for after school? What in the past, what have we?
It ranges from about 20 up to about 35 people per site. Some sites are much larger than others.
You mentioned you don't have any kids that are under the voucher program. Is that the way you want?
Yes,
Do you
sir.
foresee any, or, I mean, is there a chance that some could come up?
All I can go off of is what the Department of Social Services has said, and they have stated that the voucher program is frozen and they do not have any anticipated date for opening. And I believe, to my knowledge, it's been frozen for the past 3 years at least.
And that's one last question.
Sure.
An idea, like, give me an idea of what the aftercare program, what they do.
The kids come in, they do outside activities with the kid. There's time for homework. It's a scheduled day when they come in. It's not just like a play the entire time. And we are considering trying to add some tutoring to the after-school program to make it much more beneficial to our students.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I will say it was a good program. My daughter was part of that through her elementary school years, and it was really a benefit for her to be part of that program. So that's why I was like, man, can we do something to help that program?
Yes, it's a great
really-
program and it's much needed.
Even they had the food and snacks they sent home with kids as well. So that was added. I don't know where they came from, but it was good. So I would just love to be able to see a way that we can help supplement that program to keep it, or to, I don't know,
You all got some idea.
you know?
Any other questions? Right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Need some further discussion on this,
Yeah.
quite possibly to consider any assistance in order to get this thing established. So if you will, I know you're always ready.
I call you midnight.
I have an answer.
You'd not be surprised if we call on you again.
Sure.
How about midnight tonight, maybe?
I'll get back to you on that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Do you have a question? I thought Ms. Demmer was leaving my hand.
All right, we're gonna move on to Ms. Pereza, localized education divisions.
Okay, we have the 21-22 alternate schools modified accountability system. We need to take action on this, and we have Nina Griffin to present to us. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Griffin.
Chair Warden, Vice Chair Pereza, distinguished board members, and Interim Superintendent, Ms. James Davis. I come before you this evening to present information in regards to the NCDPI Alternative Schools Modified Accountability System options for the 2021-22 school year. This year, we are requesting that HL Trigg Community School returns all of their students' data to their base schools within our LEA. HL Trigg Community School will be given the letter grade of the school where the highest percentage of students are sent back. Since HL Trigg participates in the modified system, ECPPS must submit this request annually. For the 2020-2021 school year and previous years, ECPPS has selected this option for HL Trigg Community School. Being that the end goal for our students at HL Trigg is to successfully transition back to their home schools, the Testing and Accountability Department is requesting that you select the return option where those scores will be returned. At this time, if you have any questions, please feel free to share them.
Are there any questions for Ms. Griffin? Any questions?
Are there any major changes with this, Nina?
No, ma'am.
So it's basically the same as what we did.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any questions about this item?
I don't know if it go to you or, but I know there's an option A, option B, option C. What are we doing? Or are we doing all three or what?
No, sir. We're going to be choosing option B. And in option B, what we're doing is we may have insufficient data, and then again, we may have sufficient data. So this is like the best option for us. For option A, we do have the opportunity for HO Trig to receive a school letter grade. However, with option B, depending on the number of students that we have who take EOC courses or EOG courses, we may have some students that aren't even registered to take English 2 or Math 1. So then those scores will be void. So we want to make sure that we have an account for everyone. So with option B, you can either use sufficient data or insufficient data. And we just take those scores and return them back to our school. And that honestly may be our best option because remember, our goal for HO Trig is to send those students back to their home school so that they can graduate from there. With option C, you can still apply to participate and still have those scores to return. However, you have to have some additional paperwork and then send it to our school board. Not our school board, a state board of education. And then they will have a meeting to approve it. And then they'll be providing guidance. And that meeting won't be until October of 2021. And then they'll provide guidance for us on how to proceed with accountability for that particular school. So we've always gone with option B because like I said, that goal is to return those scores back to those schools and those students go back to their schools.
Well, I want to thank you.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you very well.
I make a motion that we accept the proposal by Ms. Griffin, accept her, what am I going to call it, Ms. Griffin?
You can say option B.
Option B, that she has recommended to us.
I'll second you.
Been a motion and a second to approve the alternative schools plan that Ms. Griffin has presented. We need a roll call vote.
Pam Perezza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
Daniel Spence,
Yes.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
George Archuleta,
Yes.
and I do see that Miss Virginia has joined us. Virginia Houston,
Yes.
thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judy.
And now we will have an AP and dual enrollment update by Dr. Amy Spencer.
Good evening, Board Chair Warden, Vice Chair and Committee Chair Perezza, Interim Superintendent, Ms. James Davis, board members, and guests. This evening, I come before you to present updates on advanced placement courses and dual enrollment. My presentation will provide a brief overview of advanced placement courses and career and college promise dual enrollment. I'm going to start with AP. Advanced placement courses, or AP courses, are designed to help students acquire the skills and habits they will need to be successful in college, and they are free to the student. The course content, pace, and academic rigor are considered college level as determined by North Carolina's institutions of higher education and are designed and overseen by the College Board. Students engage in rigorous assignments to improve their writing skills, sharpen their problem-solving abilities, and develop time management skills, discipline, and study habits. AP classes engage students in intense discussions, collaborative problem-solving, and persuasive and clear writing assignments. Through AP's college-level courses and exams, students can earn college credit and advanced placement. Most four-year colleges in the United States and colleges from over 460 countries, give students credit, advanced placement, or both on the basis of an AP exam score. When the students enter college with AP credits, they are afforded some other opportunities to move into upper-level courses. They can pursue a double major, or they could study abroad. Students enrolled in AP courses must take a commitment and take the AP exam in May. There are 38 AP subjects, and most colleges accept the scores of 3, 4, or 5, with the scale being 1 to 5. Additionally, the state weighting system awards the equivalent of 1 additional quality point to the grade earned in an AP course. Prior to the freshmen entering in 2015 and 16, it was 2. Students may take some AP courses through ECPPS, and those that are not offered here, they can take through NCVPS and or the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics. Next slide, please. Dual enrollment or Career and College Promise. Career and College Promise offers North Carolina high school students a clear path to success in college or in a career. The program, again, is free to all the students who maintain a B average and meet other eligibility requirements. Through a partnership of the Department of Public Instruction, the North Carolina Community College System, the University of North Carolina System, and many independent colleges and universities, North Carolina is helping eligible high school students to begin earning college credit at a community college campus. Students may pursue dual enrollment in the following 3 ways: college transfer pathways, career and technical education pathways, and through a cooperative, innovative high school. The college transfer pathways requires the completion of at least 30 semester hours of transfer courses, including English and mathematics. In career and technical education pathways, 1, a curriculum, career, and technical education pathway leading to a certificate or diploma aligned with a high school career cluster is one way. And then the second way is a workforce continuing education pathway leading to a state or industry recognized credential aligned with a high school career cluster. Additionally, there is a high school articulation agreement. This statewide articulation agreement between the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and the North Carolina Community College System, where students may be eligible for college credit following completion of the specified career and technical education courses in high school. Because the learning outcomes are the same for the courses, the students' educational pathways are streamlined. The CTE courses on the articulated list, which are taken in high school, do not need to be repeated in the community college. To receive this credit, students must enroll at the community college within 2 years of their high school graduation date, and they must meet the following criteria. They must earn a final grade of a B, and they must have a 93 or higher on the CTE post-assessment. The third way to receive college credit is through cooperative innovative high schools. And we have one of those, Elizabeth City Pasquotank Early College. This is where students may complete a high school diploma and an associate's degree in the time it takes students attending regular high school to complete a high school diploma. The early college takes advantage of dual enrollment credits and houses the entire school on the campus at Elizabeth City College of the Albemarle. A variety of associate's degrees and certifications are available through this program. All college credits earned with a C or higher are accepted at all UNC system universities and many other North Carolina universities. College courses, dual enrollment courses. The content, pace, and academic rigor are by definition college level. These college level courses, which may be delivered by a community college, a public university, or private college or university, provide credit toward a high school diploma and may satisfy a graduation requirement or provide an elective course. The state weighting system adds the equivalent of 1 quality point to the grade earned in community college courses. And this is only for those courses on the comprehensive articulation agreement. And those also taught at the 4-year university. So, opportunities and choices. There are benefits to both. Both offer opportunities to attain college credit for free. Which one is the best option is determined by the goals and aspirations of the student, what they want to do, and where they want to go to achieve their goals. Conversations and advisement from school counselors with parents and students will illuminate which opportunity is the best fit for the student. Information for parents and students can be found in the high school course catalog, which has been shared with students and is also on the district website under the curriculum and instruction page for parent information. And that concludes my updates on dual enrollment and AP courses. Questions?
The only question I have is, how many AP courses do you know are we teaching here on site? Or how many do we offer? Because I know that there's tons in the virtual public school.
Right.
But I know COVID may have affected that last year, but moving forward, do we know how many in-person AP classes we plan to offer?
So I know last year, Northeastern High School, I don't believe had any. And Pasquotank County High School has a few. That is basically based off of the fact that the teachers need to go and take some rigorous coursework. That typically happens in the summer so that they can actually teach an AP course. And so not all teachers do that. So it's dependent upon the teachers that are available and also the teachers that have had that training. So that changes periodically, which is why we also have the opportunity for those classes to be taken through NCVPS and of course the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics.
So I thought you mentioned like 38.
There are 38 total.
So how many, so approximately how many teachers do we have that are certified to teach those courses?
And I can get that number to you.
Okay.
I can tell you how many students have taken the courses and how many courses overall they have taken. But I can find that out.
Mm-hmm.
How many students have? You're talking AP now, right?
Mm-hmm. So advanced placement courses for the 2020-21 school year. Pasquotank County High School, 35 students were enrolled and they took at Pasquotank County High School and there were 2 courses. So the 35 students took 2 courses. At Northeastern High School, 22 students took advantage of 6 courses.
And those
Absolutely.
courses were virtual courses. At Northeastern.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure this information goes out to parents. I'm just asking, but I'm sure that parents are aware of this opportunity for students, for all students.
Yes, it's in the course catalog. And so that is shared with the parents and the students. It's in the first section of the course catalog itself. And so it talks about dual enrollment. It talks about the AP opportunities. And then it does give a list of those that are offered at the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics specifically. But then also in the back of the catalog, it is clarified as well. So
I know you said there's coursework for teachers and preparing them to teach these courses. Is that supported? I'm thinking of the teachers who've not taken advantage of it.
Right.
Financially, are they
Right.
supported?
They receive a stipend for doing that. Yes. I've signed some of those.
Dr. Spencer, do you know if, or the time frame from when a guidance counselor perspective, when they would reach out to a prospective student with regard to AP or dual enrollment?
So that should happen with the school counselor. I know that we are working in tandem with student services to ensure that they are meeting with the students, but that needs to happen right away. I know that the director for CTE is on the call, but what I can tell you is that they're even trying to offer some more courses at the middle school level so that students have the opportunity to see what's available. Because what we don't want to do is determine whether or not a student is college or career bound. That should be the student's choice.
Right.
And oftentimes you don't have the opportunity unless you know what's available to you. And so providing the opportunity to be able to explore and take some of those classes really makes that important. But then also having those conversations. I think those oftentimes are led by the students and the parents. But then for those that don't know that, that's why we include it in the course catalog. And that's why the school counselors do meet with the students to talk to them about their opportunities.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Are there any other questions for Dr. Spencer?
I just want to thank you, Dr. Spencer.
Absolutely.
For this very informative presentation. And I want to emphasize once again that it's the Elizabeth City, Pasquotank County Schools desire for both of these options to be available to all of our students so that they can make the best choice for their future and going forward. And again, I appreciate your presentation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, we're going to turn it over to Ms. Houston, who is joining us virtually for the policy committee.
Good evening, everybody. And I'll now turn it over to Ms. Tammy W. Sawyer, Director of Community Schools and Executive Assistant to the Superintendent and Board. Ms. Sawyer.
Thank you, Committee Chair Houston. Good evening, Chair Warden, Vice Chair Pereza, Interim Superintendent James Davis, board members, colleagues, and community members. I come before you this evening on behalf of the Office of the Superintendent to share the majority of the recent policy updates from the North Carolina School Boards Association. The policies in your packet are provided for an initial read. Staff have reviewed the policies and continue to do so. Any revisions, not many anticipated, but any revisions will be shared with you as soon as possible. It is our plan to bring the policies back to you for committee meetings in August and request approval at the regular meeting of the board on August 23rd. No action is requested this evening. Thank you.
Are there any questions of Ms. Sawyer?
I have a question looking at PC, looks like PC 03. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's been, I guess it's probably there, but when it's in the red, it says discrimination piece, the board prohibits discrimination on basis of race, sex, color, national origin, religion, disability, or age, and in parentheses, it puts 40 or older. Why is there age there when it says no discrimination of age, but they put an age there? I don't know. Is that?
And I think that was what the update was.
Yeah.
But it says 40 or older, so
it says our age 40 was originally in the policy. It's in the black. And so now they're saying or older. So they're not just saying our age 40. Now it says or older.
I'm wondering why there's an age at all.
I can ask that from the School Boards
If it
Association.
says discrimination of age and we're putting 40 or older, that could be that somebody less than 40 could be discriminated against. I don't know.
I can ask for clarification.
I don't know. Is that?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they updated older.
Yeah. Because it's later in the back, one of the other PCs that has 40 or older on another one. I can't remember which one it is. Down like the PC 30 something or other.
I
just wonder why they should stay on that one. And so PC 05.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just curious, when these policy changes come down, do they explain why these policy changes happen? Because I'm looking at it, says the staff may consult with the board attorney, and it changed it from following procedures established by the superintendent to only with prior approval from the superintendent.
Mhm.
Do we know?
Just clarifying statements in there.
Okay.
So the superintendent can still have a designee,
Okay,
and the superintendent can still establish procedures for this process.
all right, it changed it to only, okay.
Mhm.
That was the only couple of questions I had. Thank you, Ms.
And I will clarify PC 03 prior to the committee meetings.
And for that, going along with PC 03, there's another one in the back, and I guess I can find it.
That's okay.
It had the same age thing in the back as well.
Mhm.
And Tammy, were all changes by the suggestion of the School Boards Association?
But yes, that was from the suggestion from School Board Association, and then staff may have additional edits based on our local practices.
Okay.
Mhm. There's very few edits from staff typically. We do have a couple that we're looking at, so. But we didn't want to hold up you guys having that initial read because I know it's a lot.
I'm just curious. I see, excuse me, I'm sorry, Mr. Wall.
No, sorry.
Is it normally this man?
Yes.
Yes.
So typically we get spring updates and fall updates. And by the time we get the spring updates, it takes us a little bit of time to organize them we like to at least look through them and have staff review them before we bring them to you, and then we continue to review. So this is the spring update. I think we got it maybe end of May, sometime in May. And then we'll get a fall update likely November. And there's times that we'll get other updates that we bring to you as well.
Okay, because I know we usually, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or something.
Well,
I've never seen it.
it is quite a bit. And I will tell you that many of these policies, sometimes it's as simple as a reference to legislation, something like that. So a lot of times it's minimal updates, but it still requires board approval.
And we got any, like, we got follow-up questions, we can reach out to you.
Absolutely. Yep.
PC 35.
And we
Okay.
can also ask questions prior to moving to a committee report.
Mhm. Yes. But if there's something you would like us to look at prior to committee meetings, that would be helpful. So we can have them ready so we can move forward.
So normally what I do when I go through these, I jot down anything that I might have questions or whatever about. That doesn't sit there. It's awesome. It's good to have, I know a lot of you are much younger than I am, so you might not have the difficulty of remembering, but, I'm not talking about you, George. You're falling in the category with me, but, yeah.
It's a good club.
It's good to write down anything that you might have questions. And of course, you can reach out to me.
Yep.
Privacy.
Okay, are there additional questions? Oh, there are, somebody's talking. Are there additional questions? Well, thank you, Ms. Sawyer, and I think am I hearing someone talking?
Just you. Okay, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sawyer, and I appreciate the fact that, as we have done in the past, when we have questions, we forward them to you, and you do a good job of researching for us and getting us the answers. So that's something, board members, that we'll continue to do moving forward. As you read through these, as Ms. Warden said, jot down your questions, and we'll get them over to Ms. Sawyer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Houston. Thank you, Ms. Sawyer. Okay, at this time, we are going to ask Dr. Williams to take us into closed session for the purpose of considering personnel action.
The board will go into closed session for the purpose of considering personnel actions that involve employees of this board as allowed by NC Statute 143-31811A6.
Thank you. And now we need a roll call vote.
Ms. Warden, who gave the second for that?
Oh, I did not get a second. I'm sorry. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, Pam Pereza,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
Daniel Spence,
Yes.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
George Archuleta,
Yes.
Virginia Houston.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. We will go into closed session at this time.